So you're thinking of heading to Bali, but you're not sure how much it's going to cost. I'm going to give you a full breakdown of everything I spent in my month in Bali and how much it all cost. From flights, accommodation, visas, trips, everything, I'm going to break it all down for you. So we went for a month, starting from the middle of May to middle of June last year. My trip was myself and my partner, we went together. And firstly, our flights cost us £640. I'll put our route up on the screen, but we went from Dublin to Abu Dhabi to Jakarta, and then a night layover in Jakarta, and then the next morning we flew to Bali. If we hadn't have had the night layover each way in Jakarta, our flights would have cost us double the price, so it was over £1,300 each for the dates that we wanted. So once we landed in Jakarta, we had to pay for our visa. This was €25 each, so then this roughly worked out to be about £20. Then for our accommodation for the whole time we were there, I'll put a full breakdown on the screen again, but every place we stayed, we had a private bathroom, a private room, so we never shared with anyone else. We stayed in a mixture of hotels and hostels, and one of the hotels that we stayed in was a 5-star golf resort, and that was only because we couldn't get anywhere else to stay in that area. So our total price for the two of us was £477 for all our accommodation, so that worked out to be around £238 each, or roughly £8.80 a night. While we were in Bali, we also went to some of the neighbouring islands, so we went to Nusa Penida and we went to Gili Tea. The boats for these we paid £40 for. So our boat went from Bali to Gili Tea. We stayed there for a few nights, and then we went on to Nusa Penida and then back to Bali again. Then looking at internal travel in Bali, so our taxis and our grabs. We always got a private car. We didn't bother getting bikes because there was two of us, so by the time we paid for 2 bikes, we may as well just got a car anyway, and I found the cars were safer. But this worked out at £120 for the both of us, or around £60 each if you split it up. It was roughly around £5 per hour if you were going on a long distance trip, so if you're maybe moving from one location to another. And then smaller trips, if you were maybe looking to go out for the night or something like that, they were roughly around 50p to £1 per journey. Then our activities when we were in Bali, so I'll put a full breakdown on the screen again, and I'll also say where I booked everything and all that. We had a guided tour of Ubud, which was £29 each. We did a jewellery making class. This was around £30, and then you obviously get to keep the piece of jewellery that you make as well. Our tour of Nusa Penida was £47 for the full tour, which was £23 each. But this was for 6 people, so we paid for a private driver and for the car for the day. So you could have had 6 people on this. So if you were a big group, the price would be cheaper each per person. But we literally had the driver all day. He took us around everything we wanted to see, took really great photos and videos for us, and he brought us to spots for food and stuff that we wouldn't have known about if it wasn't for him. Then entries to parks and the temples. I think we spent around £15-20 on these altogether. For most temples, entry is between like 50p and £1 if they even charge for it. Then on to food and drink. In the full month, I spent around £250. We had a mix of eating out at restaurants, eating at local warungs, eating from chain places, eating at bars. We had a mix of everything. But a rough guide, price-wise, of what everything's at. A warung is like a local owned restaurant, and a meal there is roughly around £1. And then if you want to go out somewhere fancy for your dinner, or fancier, this can be anywhere from £5 to £10 up, really just depending on how much you're looking to spend. Then for your chain restaurants, like they have everything there. But these roughly were around between half the price of what we would pay at home, or up to around the same price as what we paid at home, just depending on where you were going. Then for alcohol, for imported brands, things we would drink at home, I found these were around the same price as what we would pay here. But if you want to drink local spirits or local beers, it's a lot cheaper. We didn't do a lot of drinking when we were there. We only drank maybe a handful of nights. Or if we were drinking, we would just bought stuff from the shop. I think if you were going out and drinking every night, it could add a lot to what you need, spending wise. Then just like other miscellaneous spending, just little random bits and pieces that I had to spend money on when I was there. My SIM card for the month was £10, and this included all your data, calls and texts if you wanted them, but I wasn't calling or texting anybody with that number. And this also included someone coming to the hotel with our SIM cards and installing them for us, because the network that we were using had that you had to upload your passport and stuff like that. It was all in Indonesian, so the guy that sold us the SIM cards came and did them for us. We initially had prepaid for our SIM cards. We were meant to collect them in Seminyak, and we went to the shop to collect them, and the shop wasn't open. So we were stuck in the middle of Seminyak with no data to get back to the hotel, and then I ended up just finding a guy on Facebook, and he came and did them for us. Then I spent around £50 to £100 on just miscellaneous things like gifts, shopping, bits and pieces in the shop like drinks, snacks. So that brings my total to £1,350 for a full month. I think that's amazing value, considering that's how much it could cost for me to go to Spain for a week, and I would probably need more money if we need to take into consideration spending money. But if you have any questions, any queries, anything you want to know about Bali or anywhere else that I've been, just drop them in the comments or feel free to send me a message.